Hi, welcome to the July episode of Community Lens. We have so much going on. It's sweltering hot outside, and I think we have a great lineup for you tonight. So I just want to remind everybody this weekend, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd is the POCO. There is parking being offered for first come, first serve for veterans. So you'll see a little flyer with an email to reach out if you would like one of those, and thank you for your service. And a reminder that the North Branford Food Pantry is looking for any donations. So if you've been collecting your bottles and cans from your summer cookouts, please make sure that you stop in on Wednesdays and Fridays. And on Monday, August 4th, we will be going and returning all of the bottles and cans from the POCO because they very nicely donated them, and we are donating all those proceeds to the North Branford Food Pantry. So if you have some time between 9 and 12 on Monday, if you come out to the Public Works, you can help us sort and bag and transport them to the recycling center. Thank you so much. I'm Kara Papa. I'm a resident here in North Branford, and I'm trying to keep you informed, and I'm going to turn it over to our special guest.
Thanks for having me. I'm Vincent Candelora, State Representative for the 86th District, which encompasses all of North Branford, parts of Guilford, East Haven, and Durham. And I've been serving for 18 years. I'm currently the House Republican leader in Hartford.
Hi, I'm Liz Kaplan. I live in town. Serve many roles in the community, but today we're going to talk about my role with all the King's Horses Equine Rescue, and my friend here, Michelle. We're doing a wellness workshop in August, but I've been part of all the King's Horses since its inception, which is in 2010. It was started by Mary Santagata, also a North Branford resident. It's right over on Route 22. And we do have a Facebook page, and we have a website. So we're going to talk about horsey stuff today, and people.
I'm Michelle Becerra. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I started a collective of different women in really all over the country who offer holistic healing. It's called Gila Wellness Collective. So we have women from different nutritional backgrounds, registered nurses, yoga, and then we're here because we're doing the wellness group with all the King's Horses, led by Liz and I. So we're very excited to be here and talk about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So I just have a couple of things to talk about tonight that I think are important for all of us to know, and important for the wellness and important for the community. So one is Plant Science Day, which is at the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station. So your taxes pay for this research that goes on in the state. You can bring your soil samples there and drop them off that day. They will have them tested and send back to you what's going on at your soil, but they have different events that go on all day, especially if you have a little one on the first day in August and you don't know what to do with them. They give a tour of the whole Lockwood Farm in Hamden, and they have different booths from many different agencies, and then you can also see all the experiments that are going on, and they have crops planted, and they're for commercial crops. So what they do is they do the experiments, and then they allow the farmers to know this crop is going to do well in Connecticut. It will be a cash crop. So in the past, they've done microgreens. They've been working on ways to fight plant disease by putting micro amounts of metals in the soil, and so protecting the plants that way. Those are the two I remember off the top of my head, but it's a fun place to go. And if you're in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, they also have a passport for that day, and so you can earn badges while you're there. So if you've signed up before, you get this in the mail, but if not, it's the first Wednesday of August, Plant Science Day in Hamden. And then the second thing I want to talk about is I started this to keep everybody informed and share with you important things from my lens, but we'd love to start hearing some of your stories. So one question I have for everybody is, where do you live right now and how did you get there? So my story is that I was born and raised where I live, but I grew up in my parents' house, but now I own my grandparents' house, which is on the same property. And so I was able to get there just by luck and a blessing that my neighbors had moved and they needed to sell the house, and I was able to purchase it. So that's why I'm there. I've been there my entire life. Just about. I did live in Florida for about 8 years, but that's how I got there. So how did you get here? And what's your story about North Branford like? Because I love it. It's where I am. So let us know.
Yeah, for me, I've lived in town my whole life. Grew up on Sea Hill Road, and I landed back on Sea Hill Road. So I did the whole loop of, went to law school and thought I would end up in Pennsylvania, but fate just brought me back here. And, so I've been helping with the family business in town. And, North Branford is sort of ingrained in my blood.
Would you like to talk about anything coming up that you find important that the community should know?
Sure. When we're talking about housing, I think it's a big topic that we're hearing about at the state level and also in North Branford. I think our zoning boards have been looking at sort of trying to make housing more affordable for people in Connecticut. It certainly has been a crisis. I think I've read that Hartford County in particular is one of the hottest housing markets in the country, and that's probably in a bad way because it's just unaffordable for people. And so it's something that the state of Connecticut's been looking at. We had a housing bill that went through the legislature. I had not voted. I voted against it. It was a fairly partisan vote, and the governor ended up vetoing it. And so we're back to the drawing board. We gavelled out of session in June. So technically, we don't have committee meetings. We don't have public hearings, unlike the federal government, which seems to go back more frequently and year-round. And so we're looking at potentially a special session in the fall to try to address issues for affordability for housing that doesn't impact local zoning. Okay. And that's been sort of the big issue that we're hearing about. We have a strong tradition in Connecticut of home rule, and people want to keep their communities the way it is. But at the same time we do that, we need to make sure that we're giving people an opportunity to be able to thrive and live in their communities. And I think it's just, we all know it's just become so unaffordable to try to be a homeowner in our state.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Thank you. Ready?
You want to hear about my story in North Branford, or or
sure,
you want
we'll
just
hear the whole
us to
thing.
jump into this?
Or jump into the horses. Yeah.
Let's just jump into the horses. People
good.
don't need to know that story, but
It would be here all day
And
if you
you
want to
know
hear
I
about
love
where
the
I've
community, so
lived.
I'm happy to be part of it. So we're here to talk about a program that we've been working together for quite a while. And as Michelle said, she's a clinical social worker, and I'm considered what we call an equine specialist. So my role in the pairing is to make sure everybody's safe. I have some horse expertise and so on and so forth, but we work very closely together in our sessions, just making sure our clients have what they need, meeting them where they're at, so to speak. And so out of that, we talked about how could we further get people to know the beauty of what we do. And working with equines, and of course I'm a little biased, maybe Michelle's a little biased, they're incredibly special living beings, sentient beings. And the rescue, right now we have, I believe, 8 horses on property, or 8 equines, I should say, because we work with 2 donkeys, a full big donkey and a mini donkey. And we also have quite a few Mustangs there, which we are brought in from out west because there's an overabundance of Mustangs. The government gathers them, and we've been taking Mustangs in that honestly are injured, that unfortunately would maybe not ever get adopted, and we make sure they're healthy and just like a dog or cat rescue, horse rescue is just more expensive and a lot more care goes involved. So our interaction, as I said, with these living beings is just so, it's transformative. And we wanted to give, women an opportunity to experience what we experience in a very shortened time. It's a 2-hour workshop. And I'm going to let Michelle talk a little bit about, the work that she does and what we want to really bring to this workshop.
Right. So as I mentioned, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. But in Gila Wellness Collective, I really come in as another woman in the group, which is really a nice place to be. I can kind of sit shoulder to shoulder with the other women. And really the idea of Gila Wellness was, it came out of watching, sort of generations of women feeling like they're disconnected from their body, disconnected from their community. And so the idea is that we've created these workshops or retreats, yoga events, so that it's really intimate and it gives women a place to really unfold and share. So we have different themes. And so when Liz and I met each other, we knew we were going to be doing something together. We hadn't yet figured it out, but it was in the universe. So we just felt that there's a trio, I call them the trio, and we'll be working with Kat, Louie, and Hartley. So it's the horse, the mini donkey, and then the big donkey. And so after working with Liz for some time, I was starting to see such a transformation with the clients. And so I really wanted to bring that into this more holistic, a healing environment, not therapy per se. I think these healing experiences and can be just as therapeutic. And so the idea is that we will be with these women for 2 hours. We have other events coming up as well. Very well thought through. We're thinking very consciously about, what are we trying to do here and why. And so we're going to be doing a lot of grounding just to reconnect to themselves and what they're doing, so that when we step into the paddock, they can feel safe and strong to then interact and build this connection with the equines. And then at the end of the session, we give women a chance to really talk about their experience and or not talk about it. There's no pressure. It's really a beautiful sacred space for all of us. So we're really excited. And this particular trio, Kat, Harley, and Louie, really love engaging. And I always rely on Liz to let me know, we just kind of know. We have a little, a little eye or whatever, when we need to shift something or an energy shifts, and just take notice. So, Liz is carrying the safety of that experience, and we're both holding the experience, but I'm really kind of zoned into, is the woman feel safe? Give me a sign. We come up with, what is a sign if you're not feeling safe in the experience? So it's really about their comfort and their safety in the experience.
Oh, nice. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. And again, thank you so
Yes,
much for having us. And just, horses are big and majestic, or equines are majestic and beautiful. And one of the really interesting things about this work is, well, there's many interesting things, but they are animals that really are focused in the present. Yes, they come in with their own life experiences for sure. And like Kat, the horse that we work with, she's a Mustang. She was out in the wild. She actually has some facial deformity, which the vet thinks was either from a predator or from running and maybe catching it on a branch, but she thinks she's the queen bee, and she is. And watching the relationship between essentially related two, but not same species, because donkeys are their own, genre, and then you have the horse. Watching their interaction and knowing they're so intuitive, and we've had clients come in not feeling great, just having some rough stuff go on, and Louis the donkey will literally walk up, put his head on your shoulder, and like that's his hug.
Oh.
And they really understand emotion, and they feel your energy. And doing this work with a workshop and giving these women an opportunity to feel what we see on a weekly basis, where we're so appreciative to have that gift. And the partnership with All the King's Horses, I mean, it's just a really cool and wonderful thing.
So do you advertise the workshop? How do people
Yes.
sign up? Okay.
So it's HELAwellness.com, HELA,
HEL.
wellness. It means bright in Scandinavian, just as a history. So we have it on our website, we have it on Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram, it's everywhere. It is a smaller grouping, so we have 8 slots and just a few more left, and it's really to keep it intimate. And I find that after they have these experiences, there can be a lot of like really beautiful emotions and connections that they may have never made before. So I think these groups, I always say, what you get out of these groups could be years of regular therapy. And I'm a clinical social worker, so I think it's just interesting the immersion that you get with this kind of experience. So going back to the original question, our website and any of the areas where it's marketed, you can see where you can register
Okay.
for this event. It's $40. Most of that goes back to All the King's Horses, because we're just so grateful that Mary is really connected to this.
Yeah, she wants to help people.
Yeah.
In addition to the work with our equines, she just really wants to give back to the community, and we want to give to her too.
Yeah.
Right.
And we also have an event that we're planning for the fall, a yoga event. We haven't ironed out all the details, but you can also find the information on the All the King's Horses Facebook page as well. And then we're going to plan a winter solstice because, why not be out in the cold with the horses, and she thinks I'm crazy, but and just sort of, in the winter, things become dormant, so it's an opportunity to rest and restore yourself in the brisk air, and it's so quiet. It can be very quiet and tranquil there, and it really is a restorative place.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some questions that I think people would have. Do you require anybody to have any equine experience
No.
before they come? So
No.
it could be brand new.
That's right.
Never-
That's right.
Okay.
So when you're registering, we have just a little questionnaire to get a sense of what people's comfort is. Are they new to this kind of work? Because it sort of gives us a chance to really tune in and to make sure each woman is feeling really comfortable. So no equine experience. We're finding that most of the women are really just looking for a deeper connection, and a lot of the women are specifically talking about the equine.
And they don't have to go in if they don't want. If
Right.
that's not their comfort level, they can be in a more, observing type role as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So so is like the first hour like talking to them and being around them, and then you bring them in with the equines?
Well, no, it's a great question. So a lot of, the first half hour, it's really us getting to know the women and, what is it that you'd like to get out of this experience?
Okay.
But a lot of it is actually nonverbal. It's about nature too. So we're going to be giving people the opportunity to walk around the farm and just kind of take it all in. So a lot of the work with Gila Wellness is allowing women to get quiet enough to listen to their intuitions and their wisdom and reconnecting to themselves.
Is this where the grounding comes in?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I've done a lot of work with meditation in the holistic world, so we will be starting with that.
Okay.
doing some take your time around the farm, and then again, if people are interested in even smaller groups or even individually going in, and Liz and I will be there.
Yeah.
And then after all of that, there's just so much that you get out of it. And then we all come back and sort of share. Or again, not share. It's really what women are okay with at the time.
Sounds
Yeah,
wonderful.
and we did, part of my role is to talk about safety, again, being aware of your body, aware of the horses, what they're feeling like, and we really value our partnership. They are our co-facilitators in anything that we do, and they are equals, and if they choose not to participate because for whatever the reason, we give them that out, because that's really the respect that they deserve as sentient beings. And but the three that we're going to be working with, they just love attention, so I'm sure they will be all about it.
Right.
And horses are great barometers of how you're feeling.
100%.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
So if, GilaWellness.com, that's where it's a very extensive explanation of what we're doing, what to expect. If someone's interested, but I don't know if this is for me, I think if you find us, it's probably something you might really enjoy. But there's also, what you might get out of this.
Yeah.
So it's very extensive there. We have an Instagram at Gila Wellness. So we try to post as much there. There's a lot of pictures of them. Liz has some great pictures with them. The bigger donkey, Louie. I have some photos because he's sort of hugging me. Kat, do you want to tell Kat about her scratches?
Yeah,
She
so,
likes petting.
There's a typical rule of thumb is you don't walk behind a horse, and we talk about why don't you do that, because again, their head is here, their behind is here, and she will literally back the truck up for a very, very long time because she loves her butt scratch, because she can't reach back there. And Louie is the same way.
Right.
So it's so interesting in their comfortability. And Kat came from the wild. And so it's even so more incredible with her because she was not living among people for her entire life. She actually came to the horse rescue pregnant. We had our first baby, and he ended up getting adopted, living his best life in New Hampshire. And within a week of arriving at the rescue, she wanted that interaction. Maybe she knew she needed help because she was pregnant. We don't really know, but she loves that connection. She's really connected to people.
Oh, that's nice.
So
And as an addition to that, we have Louie who's going to hug you, and we've got Kat who wants all the scratches, and one of my favorite little guys, Harley, he's a little shyer. But we get to talk about that. Is it being shy, or is it, I'm not sure about relationships or attachment, or, so when I go down there, it is one of the first things I do is like hang out with him. And I think he's just getting more comfortable.
yeah, much more confident, sure.
Right.
So you try to connect it back to how we're feeling as right, so we
100%.
can name our
Exactly.
feelings and come through and
And even, relationships to other humans, because a lot of times you'll be in a session and something will happen, and it will definitely have that relational aspect of navigating our lives every day, and it's an awakening. It's very, very cool.
That's where we get to come back together at the end and share what was that like. And for a lot of women, relationships are really important, whether it's because they feel fulfilled by them or because it's a struggle and there's a lot of trust within relationships. So there's so much healing that can be that can go on, and just even like a 15-minute chunk of time with these guys.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
sure that silent process stays
Yes.
with you afterwards. Yes. So
Yep.
definitely check it out. Check it out. Yeah.
Thank you.
That sounds very exciting. Yeah. I just have a question for Mr. Candelora. You brought it up earlier when we were speaking off camera, but when you were talking, you talked about it. Can you just educate us, for the people that may not know, what is the difference in the sessions?
Yeah.
And how it's different from the federal government and the state government?
So Connecticut is a little unique in that we have a citizen legislature. We work part-time, so it's not a full-time job. New York, on the other hand, is a full-time position.
Oh,
And so our sessions go in the springtime. In the odd year, they start in January and they run till June. In the even years, they run from February until May. And the difference is the odd years, we're doing a 2-year budget. And so there's a lot more committee work to be done. And obviously, the budget takes up a large part of our time. And then in the short session, the even years, we're supposed to only be focusing on budget adjustments, but that rule's a little bit out the window. We tend to do a lot of other things that just can't wait another year in order to be legislated. We could go into special session, and I think people generally think that we're there all the time because especially when COVID hit, we were there a lot more, changing laws and trying to react to the pandemic that we tended to be in a lot of different times. It's sort of returning to normal now where we're only typically there in the winter to the spring. But as we alluded to, we may be there this fall to deal with housing legislation that has not gotten over the finish line. And then also Medicaid adjustments. What is going on in the federal level, the states have to react to any Medicaid changes that may happen.
So what is going on at the federal level of Medicaid?
Yeah, I mean, so Medicaid, it's such a huge moving target, and a lot of the changes won't happen 18 months from now. So we have some time to make adjustments. The biggest issue, I think, for Connecticut is our hospital tax. There's a number of states, probably about half of the states in the country, that imposed a tax on hospitals. And it happened when we saw the Great Recession back in 2009. It was a clever way to get revenue into the state, is we realized that if you tax hospitals, the federal government will pay that tax for them as part of the Medicaid system. The federal government has now said, we don't want you to do that anymore. You shouldn't be taxing healthcare. So philosophically, I understand the concept. They capped it at, I think, 6% or 6.5%. Connecticut is over that cap of 6%. And on top of it, our tax contract with the hospitals expired. So you can't just tax them. It's done through an agreement. That agreement is coming to an end in a year. So it needs to be renegotiated on top of the federal law changing. So what it means for Connecticut is if we don't get an agreement with the hospitals, we could lose up to $900 million that's in the budget right now. The cap would require us to lower the tax by about $300 million. It's all manageable because we do have a surplus, and it's just a matter of being able to make those changes in time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you could even tax the hospitals that are technically
Nonprofit.
nonprofit?
That's right. So it's really not a good practice. I think we should move away from it, but we do have to make up that revenue elsewhere. Okay. So I think there needs to be a broader conversation, and I think the whole Medicaid conversation, we have to look at too, because we're seeing our healthcare structure, in our state, it's taking longer and longer to just get a physical appointment. People aren't able to find doctors. We're seeing hospitals closing. In the northeast corner of the state, we saw maternity care. They're closing some of those departments, so access to healthcare has changed depending on where you live in the state, which you wouldn't think, being such a small state, access would be easy, but it is becoming a problem for us.
And it's hard if you have to drive 40 miles to get to a hospital.
Especially, if you're dealing with a pregnancy, time could be of the essence. And that's the area that we really have focused on to try to maintain women health services throughout the state. When we're seeing so many hospitals struggling, it's the first area that they cut back on because on top of it, people aren't having as many children as we used to have. We're seeing that population decrease. So if you think about it from a financial perspective, fewer maternity visits, the hospitals say we're going to close it. It's not profitable anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's got to be like a middle ground somewhere for the services to be able to continue.
Yeah,
we're
and I
working
think,
on that.
right, and for Connecticut, we have to really look at the reimbursement rates. We only pay about 65 cents on the dollar for Medicaid, whereas private insurance will pay about $1.35. They make up the difference. And so that's where we also have to raise the reimbursement rates because more and more people are reliant on Medicaid now. You know, people can receive Medicaid who aren't just, you know, poor or disabled. We have provisions that allow for able-bodied people who are earning money but not enough money for health care can go on Medicaid.
Okay. That's interesting
Yeah,
to know.
yeah.
And that's the Husky program too? That's part
That's
of
the Husky
Medicaid?
program,
Okay.
exactly. It's Medicaid D.
Medicaid D. Interesting. Well, thank you for that. That peeled back lots of parts of the onion that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Absolutely, happy to come in.
And I'm going to leave everybody with that because I'm going to be processing that for a while. So I will have more questions. If you don't mind, that's what I did want to ask you before you leave. One of the things that I'm doing with Community Lens is I want people to understand that their lens is important. So can you just say one thing before we go about when you have the public hearings? Is it important to you to hear from people at the public hearings?
It is, especially from your constituents. You know, sometimes I encourage you to send out those blanket emails to oppose something or support something. If the constituents, they don't live in your district, you don't read them as much, but it's so important to hear from residents on anything, you know, because not only can we help you with your problems if you're having trouble with Department of Motor Vehicles or Department of Social Services, you know, we have staff that could help facilitate solutions, but also for legislation, we do hear and listen to people. We've come up with some good ideas. I've worked with the Caruso family
That's exactly what I was thinking.
on changing laws dealing with, you know, handicap placards that the state didn't realize that we have online platforms that were allowing people to get handicap placards and being able to game the system. And so Connecticut is one of the first in the country to stop that practice. So a lot of those ideas can come from constituents, and sometimes we can pass them into law pretty quickly.
Oh, that's really good to know.
Yeah.
So please, if there is a public hearing, you can sign up on the website of the legislature, and just like in North Branford, it will give you alerts when there is public hearings. So if you want to give some testimony, and you can give it by email, right?
You could do it by email, you could do it by Zoom, or you could be in person. So even just sending a letter is helpful, but if you want, you could testify via Zoom, you know, from your living room.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for
Thank you
joining
so
me.
much
I'm
for
so
having
excited
us.
about your program. It sounds
Yes.
wonderful. I'm going to have to come check it out. And thank you, Mr.
Please.
Kindler, for all your time. I
Thank you.
appreciate being here. And next month, we'll see you at the end of August. Have a good one, everybody.
Hi, my name is Megan, and I'm the owner of Get Organized with Megan Rose. I specialize in helping people create organized, stress-free homes through my services, which include decluttering and organizing, donation pickups, and daily chores such as laundry, dishes, and tidying up. I understand that inviting someone into your home can feel overwhelming, and many people feel hesitant or embarrassed. But I want you to know my services are 100% judgment-free. I'm here to help, not judge. In addition to my organizing work, I'm also the administrator for our town's free page, where I donate many of my clients' unwanted items to help others in the community. Giving back has been an important part of my business since the very beginning. I've lived in North Branford for 11 years with my boys, and I truly love being part of this community. Right now, I'm running a giveaway for 1 free hour of my decluttering service. Everyone who enters from town will receive $15 off their next session. Be sure to check out my Facebook page, Get Organized with Megan Rose, to learn more about my services. I hope to hear from you soon.